Hello all, Alison here. Welcome back to Words and Pictures for another episode of Books. It's a handmade book on the table today, and it's one that I made as part of a class with Kate Crane in what I think was the very first ever Wanderlust season 2016. And I participated. I wasn't very good at keeping up with all the classes, but I was thrilled with this accordion. Well, it's not quite accordion, it's sort of accordion plus. Let's call it accordion plus, because it does open as a kind of accordion, but as you can see, there are signatures within each of those accordion folds. So it's got a lovely complexity to it as a book, and you can come at it from both sides as you can with an accordion. But it's it's a real joy to me. It was back then, it was some of my first experiments with my own mark making. So for those who kind of, when they see my botanical drawings or sketches or the stamps taken from the drawings or the watercolor paintings, seriously, around 5 years ago I started that journey. It's not even that. October 2020, Inktober 2020 was when I really started focusing on trying to draw things. And yeah, it's now July 2024 and I still am never sure when I sit down to make marks what's going to happen. It's all a learning curve. Anyway, let's take a look at some of that very early mark making, but let's start with this gorgeous textured cover over a kind of, I don't know, that's some sort of fabric that's under there, but clearly texture paste through a stencil, dry brushed to create those gorgeous highlights. And it's so satisfying under the fingertips. That there's a little bit of burlap ribbon. Kate obviously taught this with her signature bright colours. I, as you won't be surprised to learn, stuck with my trademark blues and greens, summertime blues and greens. But I did use some brighter colours than I might otherwise do. So I feel like I fitted in with that. There's scribbling. There's using everyday objects for stamping, so there are lots of paint lids and all of that. And the first of some little tiny leaves that I did with brush marks and pen work. I think the original intention was that you might journal onto your decorative pages, but I decided I probably wouldn't ever want to do that. So I inserted some plain signatures ready for any journaling or writing that I might want to do. There's some slightly smaller pages, and I really love how that gives you the framing effect of these pages. That's the bookbinding thread, which again I've left completely visible because I like the thread itself. Anybody who knows me knows fine twine is always putting in an appearance. Lots more scribbling, some Tim Holtz word stamps through here. You are the hero of your own story. And yeah, these somewhere between grasses and branches, I would say, the main mark making on that page, somewhere between grasses and bare winter trees. Some more of the tiny little leaves. And again, it's what I refer to as visual poetry. It's repetition and variation. So those same branches but in a slightly different position, the same colours but with a different one coming to the fore. So there's much more of a sort of ocean look at the bottom of this, and beautiful greens at the top. Another little journaling page. So yeah, this one must have been one page originally across the back there, but there's that signature going in. Lots more blues and turquoises in that page. I'm not going to even try to see what I've written here. You cannot discover new unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. Okay, so that's an André Gide quote, I think, about discovering new lands, but you have to be brave enough to lose sight of the shore in order to go there. So having said I wasn't going to try, I tried and I succeeded. That's another large signature. I love this centre spread. There's just something deeply pleasing to me about the white highlights, the dark edging. I think there's probably Prussian blue involved in there, green gold, and maybe this is some sort of aquamarine or phthalo turquoise, perhaps, is involved. That's André Gide again, lose sight of the shore. And I think I really did feel this about this book. It was taking a leap for me into into new ways of working, of actually daring to use a brush and a pen and make marks of my own in amongst the mixed media painty layers. Oh look, another little small signature in this page. Dark blues on that one, and then yeah, the branches I've chosen to go over the green, so that gives you your greenery. Another small page with the lovely outlining of the textured white paper that's just watercolour paper in between. I may have given it a coat of gesso because I can sort of feel some texture on there above and beyond the watercolour paper, more of the fine twine that I've used to bind the signatures. And it echoes the colour of the little leaves, which I like, and I've also done some pen work in sort of soft browns and greys. And there's the back side of that one. A little more scribbling. Is that Gide again? Two roads diverged in the wood. That's Robert Frost. And I took the one less travelled by. And that has made all the difference. Wonderful poem. Yeah. So I'm borrowing other people's words for this. There's the two roads again. So that's Robert Frost again. And the back page on this side. So the internal back page. But as I say, it does also open in the other direction, where we have, yeah, it is more of the same. And I don't mind, because that to me is still making me happy, seeing the variations. Slightly bigger leaves down here with the pen work on them to give you the skeleton look. Another small signature in the middle. And here you can see the half the quote, because the other half will be back here. That's Losing Sight of the Shore again. That's on one of my stamp sets, the travel edition, presumably. Two roads diverged in a wood. There's the Robert Frost again. Another nice central page that kind of moves from the darks into the lights, heading up in that direction. More pen lids, paint lids. I think that's the reverse of a pencil, actually dipped in paint and stamped. And that's a large paint lid from my gesso pot, I think. Almost there. One final journaling page. Yeah, there's definitely some gesso on here. You can hear and see the texture of that. That's got a beautiful kind of almost hidden landscape in it. A lake, a shore, up into the sky, trees in the distance. And some more of those branches, some more of those leaves. So yeah, this is some sort of burlap ribbon I've used just to bind it around the outside. So I hope you've enjoyed that little trip through this Accordion Plus handmade book. It was a lovely thing to do. It was a lovely structure to create. It may be that Kate has her own class on putting that together available now, that she's developed from that Wanderlust one. So do check out Kate Crane on Instagram. But I hope you've enjoyed taking a little trip into my first mark making adventures in mixed media. Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed that, do hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you do have any comments or questions, leave them down below. I love hearing from you, and I hope you'll be inspired to create some books of your own. Happy crafting all.